federal appeals court heard arguments today about Texas's new immigration law. The measure would allow the state to arrest and jail migrants suspected of entering the U.S. illegally. The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, based in New Orleans, is set to decide whether the Texas law is constitutional and is blocking the Lone Star State from enforcing the new law ahead of its ruling. Camilo Montoya-Galvez, who tracks immigration for CBS News, unlike anyone else at this network, is here with me at the desk. You were monitoring this case today. How did the arguments go?
Well, the Biden administration was in federal court today to argue that SB4 is not only unconstitutional, but that it challenges the federal government's longstanding power to set immigration rules, including as to who gets to stay in the U.S. and who does not. Texas is arguing that this is an effort by the state to help the federal government deal with the unprecedented migration crisis along the U.S.-Mexico border. Let's take a listen to what the Solicitor General in Texas said.
Now, to be fair, maybe Texas went too far, and that's the question this court's going to have to decide. But that's the context of which we are here. Texas has looked at the Supreme Court precedent and the laws that Congress has enacted and has tried to develop a law that goes up to the edge, but no further.
As you just heard, Ed, the Texas lawyer said that this law may well have gone too far. And that is certainly what the Biden administration has argued in court. They believe, the administration thus, that this is an unconstitutional effort by the state to basically commandeer a federal policymaking area, immigration, and that Texas does not have the authority to essentially deport people back to Mexico and also to arrest migrants for what are essentially federal crimes. But again, Texas is saying that it does have that authority, that this is an effort to help the Biden administration. And we should also underscore that the hearing highlighted how much confusion and uncertainty there is about how Texas would even implement this operationally, especially that provision that allows state judges to issue what are de facto deportation orders. Let's take a listen to that exchange.
Texas takes the person to the port of entry. As a legal and as a practical matter at the port of entry, the United States is there. So if the person says, you know what, I have a pending asylum claim, well, the United States will not going to send you to Mexico at that point. And we've also heard that Mexico might not very well take the person.
Texas here is conceding that it cannot physically remove people to a foreign sovereign country, and that it needs the consent of both the federal government and Mexico to do that. And as you know, the Department of Homeland Security and Mexico have both said that they will not cooperate with Texas on this effort.
I just think the fact that the Solicitor General says maybe Texas went too far, for you guys to decide,
that's right,
is very different than what Governor Abbott has been suggesting. That in fact, we're going to try to do it better. They seem to realize an adverse ruling is coming. While we have you, well, first of all, do we have any sense of what the judges make of the arguments today?
Well, the two sides face pointed questions. The Justice Department was grilled on its arguments, and Texas was also asked what it hoped to accomplish with this law if it cannot effectively send people back to Mexico. But it is important to underscore that two of these three judges on this panel have already suggested that the Biden administration is likely to prevail on the merits of this case. So they could receive a favorable decision in the coming weeks. But I think ultimately this will be decided by the Supreme Court, and that ruling by the High Court will have wide-ranging implications on the question of who gets to set immigration policy in this country.
And in our remaining time, I know a lot of questions we get on the White House beat is, when is the president still thinking about taking some kind of executive action on immigration, given the likely uptick in illegal border crossings coming this spring?
Well, the simple answer is that yes, he is still considering these actions, according to people familiar with these internal deliberations inside the administration. This would involve the president invoking the sweeping presidential power that allows president to suspend the entry of migrants when it is determined that their entry could be detrimental to U.S. interests. It would allow him to restrict asylum if a number of people crossing the border increases to a certain level. He has not taken that action yet, and I believe that is because a springtime influx in migration has not materialized yet, Ed. But if the number of people crossing the border does increase indeed in the future, he could very well do that.
May not have a choice, and the politics of it will get really messy. All right, Camilo Montoya-Galvez, who tracks immigration for us. Good to see you.
Thanks,
Thank
Ed.
you.